Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the first game of round 4 in the Rugby World Cup 2023, and it has potential of being a very close game between these two sides. Uruguay taking on Namibia. Now, Uruguay yet to get themselves a victory throughout 2023's Rugby World Cup. For Namibia, 25 times they have lost in a Rugby World Cup competition. They're hoping to find that monumental first victory here, but they are without their captain in this matchup. Who knows, maybe they can pull off the upset. Looking through at Uruguay's starting lineups, the players to watch out for. I know that Arata and Ichiveri, that combination has been working relatively well for the Uruguayans throughout this Rugby World Cup. Villaseca, the captain, at number 12, and then also Freitas, Basso, and Amaya as the back three. Those three, they're going to play a pivotal role in this Uruguay team, because Namibia, when they do kick it in behind with those three running it back, they may opt to not go for that tactic. Looking through at Namibia's starting lineup, like I mentioned, they are missing their captain, so instead it is going to be Burger at number 12 with Isaacs coming in at number 13. This combination of Damian Stevens and Tian Swanepoel is back for this contest after it was rested for that game up against France. Grayling, Mouton, and also Lubsa at the back at number 15. And I should mention as well, Yanivi is going to be the captain at number 7 for this game, alongside Hardwick and Galseb and that loose forward trio. Looking through at the chat, we have got the morning Hamish. Says Peter Weil, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And Kia ora from Germany, but early for you, mate. Looking forward to a game on the wireless, says Tar there. Yeah, it is a nice early 4:45 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. My sleep schedule has already been destroyed this week, so I guess it wouldn't really be a World Cup without me being up when the sun is not. We have got the, I should mention I don't have a sun as well. That is the reference to the sun, S-U-N, outside. Yeah, do not have a sun. We have got the Hi Fred, says Eddie, welcome in. And also Morning Average, says Peter Wild, and have picked the underdogs by 3 points, says Peter Wild. Okay, so going with an underdog upset. At the end of the day, I feel like these two sides, the last time that they played, they matched up quite well. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is a relatively close game. Looking through at the table currently, as you can see, both of these sides yet to get themselves a point in this Rugby World Cup. Although the big difference here is the points differential. Last week, we did see the French beat the Namibians 96 points to 0. The biggest margin we have seen throughout this Rugby World Cup. At this point, Uruguay, they've had a couple relatively close games, having their matchup up against the Italians last week, the French the week prior, where they did only lose by around that 14 points, which is why they are considered as heavy favourites going into this matchup. In the chat, we have got there, who is the underdog? So the underdog for this game is going to be Namibia. They are about $7 underdogs compared to the $1.07 favourites of Uruguay. And Yo Hamish, fire on the go on the edge of the Kunini, in the Namibia bordering Angola. Hoping for the best, says Jan Afantonda in there as well. So I hope you've been keeping well, Jan. Fire on the go on the edge. I know there were fires somewhere close by. I don't know whereabouts they were though, but I saw it on the news. I wonder whether or not they were also talking about those ones as well. Uruguay 20, Namibia 19, says Eddie there. And also, hi all and Hamish, glad there's a game sitting on, waiting for the concrete guys, says Robert. So hopefully they arrive on time. We actually had a concrete truck the other day that went down the wrong road, so I had to chase it in our car to try and direct it the way that it needed to be. Are you ready for the 4th week of the Rugby World Cup, says Mornay. I would have preferred more sleep during the week, I think, but overall I'm feeling pretty excited. There's a few big games coming up this weekend. Fiji versus Georgia. That is going to be a very important fixture for both those two sides. Alongside that, there's also going to be the game between Japan and also Samoa. That game is actually tomorrow morning. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. Fire for the Bride, Kunini River, says Jan. And also we were good there, fire on 7 floors at next building here last night, says Peter Wild. So that is not ideal. In that case, looking through at the previous fixtures for these two sides, I should mention, as you can see, they have actually played before, and it wasn't too long ago, only about 2 months' time. Uruguay versus Namibia, 26 points to 18. Relatively close game, of course. The Namibians would have loved to have Dazelle as an option for this game. There was also talks of a spider bite during the week, so that means that they've lost another player due to that. Hopefully he doesn't become Spider-Man in the process. Hello everyone, should be a great game, says Dylan Simpson. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Do let me know your score prediction for this game as well. Like I mentioned, Namibia underdogs, but they have never won themselves a game in a Rugby World Cup, and this would be one that if they were able to do so, it would just mean so much to the group of players they've got currently. Matthew Reynell will be in charge of this one. Battle with the Sun, says Blindside. And Namibia to win by 5 points, says Morne Lagrange. And Uruguay by 20, says Dylan there. And Uruguay kicking off from right to left to get us underway for this game, ladies and gentlemen. Kicked into the 22 and nicely taken at the back by the man at number 12, who was not Dazelle. It is Danko Berger this time due to Dazelle's suspension, I should say. Now back to Tian Swanepoel. Kicks it into touch for Namibia, but the early territory game does go the way of Uruguay. And something about Uruguay so far that we've seen is that backline, the swiftness, the effectiveness. Does look like they could be a real contender in the future if they do continue to develop the way that they have over the last 4 years. Morning and evening all, says Flesh and welcome in, mate. Hope you are keeping well. If you're excited for this weekend's rugby action, although I will mention, I don't think Wales have a game, do they? Interception for Namibia. I just talked about how crisp and nice the backline of the Uruguayans were, and now Moutons goes straight through, scores the first try, and like they've just said, the quickest try in Namibian history, scored by Mouton. Well, that's a way to start the game, ladies and gentlemen. The underdogs say if you make a mistake, we're going to make the most of it. His second Rugby World Cup try. No, we don't, says Flesh in there. So of that group, is it Fiji, Georgia you're looking forward to seeing, or are you looking forward to Portugal, Australia that little bit more? Well, says Dylan, yeah, not the start to the match Uruguay were after. You wonder what would have happened if those passes had found their hands, but it was that pressure being put on Felipe Echeverria. In fact, it was Santiago Arata who decided to have the run himself. And Namibia, in front of a crowd that do have quite a few Namibian supporters in it, score the first try of the match 2 minutes in. Well, says Robert, yeah, it's not the start that anyone anticipated for this game. Now, Tian Swanepoel, kick has gone straight down the middle, and Namibia leading this contest now 7 points to 0 in the opening 2 minutes of the fixture. And it was just a mistake in the backline of Uruguay. The bounce pass, it didn't go to hands. And then it is a Mouton who gets himself another one. Let's go Namibia, says Johnny. Perhaps Namibia have been preparing for this game all along, says Dylan. Well, it's always been the game, hasn't it, that they've had the best potential to be able to walk away with their first Rugby World Cup victory. And yeah, maybe they have just been mentally preparing for this matchup. At the end of the day, when you lose 96-0 in a week, like that was only 7 days ago, and they have now decided, right, well, that's happened. It's in the record books, but let's try and get something else etched in the record books for this Rugby World Cup. Let's get ourselves a monumental win. Alistair Coetzee, he'll be very happy with that start to this game, although he knows that the job is not done as of yet. A line-out throw here for Germain Hesler for the Uruguayans. Going off the back here, Arata fires it across. This time the back line looking a lot better for Uruguay, the quick hands. That's what I thought would happen last time, but instead it was the try for the Namibians. Nice run forward from the left winger, Freitas. Big shot coming in from Namibia's captain, Unevi. And now the ball back in the hands of Namibia, 40 metres out from their line, and they will receive the penalty as well for the player not rolling away. But big shot coming in from the skipper, exactly what you want to see. And it was a big driving hit on Alanga there. Rolling away, penalty one. Hello everyone watching from the windy Lüderitz in Namibia, says Ruandre. Hopefully I've pronounced Lüderitz correctly. Tian Swanepoel now to kick this one for the touchline. He has got a long boot on him, does play for the Lions in the URC, which is actually only, I think, 2 weeks away from starting up again, which is going to be a lot of excitement. We are going to be covering some of the URC on the channel this year, as much as we can. Of course, throughout the first couple of weeks with the Rugby World Cup also taking place, it will be a little bit hectic, but we will try our best get those gains firing. We have there getting a try will boost morale in the Namibian side. Yeah, it's already got rid of that 0 on the scoreboard that they did have last week. So to be able to get it so early in this game, they'll be absolutely loving it. Now, Gal Seb playing number 6 for this game on the 22. Damian Stevens about to pick that ball up, but instead a little bit of a pick and go from Torsten, I think it was Van Jasfield. Now, still lurking around that 22, doing very well to roll out of there, and the referee does give him the benefit of the doubt for trying. Namibia, just a couple solid phases on the 22 of Uruguay, almost the turnover. Looks like they are sending this one to the left-hand side after Tian Swanepoel driven backwards in his challenge. We're only 5 minutes in and already Namibia have been able to find some nice momentum early, although that maul does not come out the back. It's going to be now Uruguay's ball. Nice work there from the captain, Villaseca, and number 12 for this game. Got his hands on the ball early, used that strength to hold him up off the turf. Okay, Matthew Reynell, I think he was describing the penalties in the breakdown for not rolling away. I think there was the question mark from Namibia of whether or not there should have been one there. Matthew Reynell said he was slightly trapped, but he did everything that he could to get out of there. That referring to Diego Albello. Namibia, so we've got that first try on the board already. Uruguay, they've scored up against some top sides throughout this Rugby World Cup. We're looking to open up their try scoring soon. You got it right. Luritz says Rwandre. And I don't know if Namibia can hold on for 80 minutes, but I hope so, says Hangarat. And Namibia can improve with hard work ahead in rugby, says Mark. And that's the main thing, just getting that confidence and getting seen on the world stage. That is why Rugby World Cups are so important to these lower ranked sides. It's not so much about performing well to a certain extent in terms of the rankings. Like normally the quarterfinals are off the table, but the big thing here has been just to try and prove why they are in this World Cup. Future players to watch out for. How's the atmosphere in New Zealand been for the Rugby World Cup, says Siddhartha? I'm probably, to be honest, the wrong person to ask, mainly because I've adapted to the Northern Hemisphere sleep schedule, so I've hardly been out and about throughout this Rugby World Cup so far. I've hardly heard anyone talking about it, mainly because I do sleep during the day and then do all of our work during the night. But I think that, to be honest, from the limited amount that I've heard, because like I've had cricket practice and whatnot, it does seem like a lot of people are waiting to the quarterfinals and then they'll start to judge how the All Blacks are doing, because everyone's waiting for that big performance that we just haven't really seen yet. And from the selection that they've gone with for their game up against Italy, of having those two Blues props who are out of form, having a few of the switches that still don't quite make sense, I think people are a little bit nervous for those quarterfinal games. So far, so good for Namibia. It's going to be a knock-on there from Uruguay. Yes, best games for this was Ireland and for South Africa. Says Eddie there. Of course, Ireland, they have got themselves a rest week this weekend, but the South Africans taking on Tonga in their final group stage fixture before heading to those Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. So I'm sure that they will be absolutely buzzing for that opportunity. In fact, I believe that the Springboks, during this live stream in about 50 minutes time, they are actually going to be announcing their team to take on the Tongans. To be honest, it's a bit of a weird time to announce it during another Rugby World Cup fixture. Definitely if the Namibians go on to get themselves their first historic win. Sadly, some people will be watching what the South African team are announcing rather than the Namibians making history of their own, which will be a bit of a shame for them. Definitely because it's their African brothers who are taking part in this game. Big push there in the front row from Uruguay. But Namibia just managed to hang on to this ball. Now slinging it across to the left-hand side. Isaacs. The offload up now for Namibia. Great clean out. I think that was actually... Who was that? I think it was Danko Berger who managed to come in and stop that momentum. We have got their Love Your Team prediction for the Bok team, says Dylan Simpson. And yeah, it's a big question mark of whether or not we're going to be anywhere near correct or whether we're going to be a mile off for that one. We have got their greetings from Botswana. How's Namibia doing? They're doing very decently throughout the first 10 minutes of this game, scoring themselves that early intercept try, now attacking from 30 metres out. To the right-hand side now, nice stepping from Lubsha. Namibia, you can see all the forwards at the moment. They are just buzzing for the opportunity to get that ball in hand, slowly creeping up to the line. Now Isaacs goes across again to Gal Seb. There's good defence from Uruguay, not allowing the defence line to break. Now Stevens goes off to Tian Swanepoel. Off his wing at the moment, Mouton goes through one challenge. Still on the 22. That is where Namibia have spent a majority of this first 10 minutes here. We have got them, will the Box ever do something right? I have to wonder, says Hanger. At the end of the day, they're the defending champs, so I'm sure that they are going to be able to go all right throughout the rest of this Rugby World Cup. I'm curious about the selection for Tonga. Quick hands there from Namibia. Was close to a 4 pass, but if it's not, it's going to be JC Grayling who scores another try for the Namibians, and they are on fire in the early stages. It will just be that pass to Grayling that they will want to check out. We have got there, went and watched South Africa versus Namibia in Auckland at the 2011 Rugby World Cup. Got a soft spot for Namibia. Go boys, says Si. And hi, says Sergio. Welcome in. To participate in rugby as player, coach or ref in Namibia is extremely difficult. Work during the day, training during the night, and play on the weekends, all out of their own pockets, financially deprived, says Randre. And that is why for these their players, I should say, it is so meaningful to be there. That was flat. That pass, they've just said marginal. Are they going to check it out here? I think the crowd's reaction, I think it might be marginally forward here. Let's catch your breath and join me in gloating Bay of Plenty versus the Stags. It's been a while. I actually don't know the result of that game yet. Do let me know. Is it a Bay of Plenty win, or was it the Stags who got themselves the upset? And Namibia have scored more tries in the first 10 minutes than the rest of their campaign put together, says Venster, and Springboks have to play Pollard, says Sergio. And yeah, it's that big question mark of whether Pollard will be in the starting side or whether he will be coming off the bench. That is a nice strike from the touchline. The try will stand and now has made the score 14 points to 0 in favour of the Namibians. We've got the beer as some of the best, says Mark for Windhoek. Hopefully I've said that correctly, although I have a feeling I might have mispronounced it. Pollard will play at 12. Where do you think Pollard is going to play, says Mornay Lagrange? In my prediction for the Springboks, I went with Pollard off the bench at number 22 and then to bring him on as that 12. I believe is what I went with. And then keep Marnie Libok at 10. So for the later stages of the match, have those two there. I'm late because of load shedding. Hi there, everyone, says Stahl. And also we have got there Namibia lost with 8 points against Uruguay in the warm-ups and beat Chile. Says Randre, very true, beating Chile 28 points to 26. Losing to the Uruguayans, I think it was around that same points, wasn't it? About 28 points or 26 points to 18. I really hope Namibia take this one for the team without much in terms of resources. This would be huge for them, says Sean. It certainly would be, and that is a brilliant kick downfield from Tian Swanepoel. Namibia, brilliant start throughout this first 14 minutes, and this is now a big question mark because Uruguay have to deal with that little bit of adversity from the early start that the Namibians have had. Good morning, Hamish. That Daily M's was Rob Sean Johnson should have won it. Kalen Ponga won the award last night, says Jeffrey Fockerd. I did see a very short little, I think it was a post on Instagram about that, but I didn't actually read into it or anything along those lines. So what, did Sean Johnson have a few more points in the overall award, but they did give it to someone else? 1 point. Last 20 minutes cost me 20 heart attacks, says Peter Wild. Nicely taken by JC Grayling. And he recently did score himself a try. Massive boot downfield. Uruguay having to take it inside of their 22, firing it back across to Echeverri. Decides to try and run it out from just out from his own 22. Has been tackled by Gal Seb and now driven backwards 5 metres by the Namibians who look for the counter ruck. I don't think their players got to their feet though. No, they didn't. So it will be the penalty in favour of Uruguay. And Kalen Ponga won by a point, says Jeffrey Fockerd. And also Justin, see what's happening with our African brothers supporting for Namibia, says Denzel there. And popping in Hamish, I'll pause You can, my video feed is 45 seconds behind you. Looking well, 5 p.m. here, says Eric. Yeah, it's certainly a nicer time in the Northern Hemisphere for these games, as well as South Africa than we are here in New Zealand. I had such a weird sleeping schedule. I've done 2 little short 2-hour stints of sleep for today. So we ended up sleeping just before, and then the All Blacks announced their side, so we got up, did the video. Then we ended up going back to sleep for a couple hours, then getting up, of course, to cover this game. And then after this, I believe the Springboks are announcing their side. We have got the podcast to film, and then we'll be going back to sleep for like 3 hours and then getting back up to start our day. Now 40 metres out from the line for Uruguay. Looking to get this one rolling forward with Herman Kessler. Looks like it's slowly edging towards that touchline. Should be available now for Arata to be able to go back across. How do you balance work and cricket with the commentary, says Sean Lees. Luckily, the cricket season is just about to start. So I believe cricket season starting in 2 weeks. We had our first training yesterday. But then, yeah, we are supposed to have training tomorrow night at 5 p.m. New Zealand time. Nice cross kick from Uruguay. Taken back there. And it will now be a 5-metre scrum for Uruguay. Great kick from Echeverri to put the pressure on. Who wins grand final? AFL Collingwood and Brisbane Lions on Sunday night. Penrith Panthers and Broncos. I'll be honest, I haven't really had a chance to watch too much of the AFL at all this year. Even the NRL to a certain extent. Haven't really had too many chances to see them. Standards here go Namibia, and also Namibia prepping Uruguay for a New Zealand onslaught. Lovely, says Blindside XV. Is Uruguay playing bad? They've been under pressure at the moment, but they have had their little moments where it does seem like they are right on the verge of being able to get back into the contest. They are now 5 metres out from the Namibian line. We've got there what happens if Namibia wins 96-0 with a bonus point, says Stan. They will receive the 5 points. I don't think they can do too much more than that in terms of like changing where they are on the table, seeing as this is their last game of the Rugby World Cup. Uruguay, they still have their game next week up against the All Blacks. Fun fact, Percy Montgomery was born in Namibia. He certainly was. And Brisbane Lions and Broncos are my tips to win both grand finals, says Jeffrey. And also, go Namibia, well done, says Kevin. And totally understand. In early days, natal players travelled from far afield like Ishofi. And back home, it is development and a progression. Over time, it will happen, says Mark. And my Super Brew is crying, says Kevin. And also, we have got the Vamos, says AJS. Into world rankings, says Stan. I know that in regards to the rankings, you can only go up so far. So I believe it's 15 points winning margin is the most that you will be allowed to increase with. So whatever they end up doing here in Namibia, if they do win by 15 or more points, that will end up with them getting that boost. Wellington Lions to beat Hawke's Bay Saturday afternoon, says Jeffrey Fockgood, and also Percy Montgomery, Corne Kring. I always say his name wrong, Kringe. Born in Namibia, says Sean Lees. Now another 5-metre scrum for Uruguay. They have got about 4 men in a row here set up next to the scrum. This is one of those training drills that I'm sure they've tried many times in the past, hoping that that pass sticks, and whoever gets it can run straight through to the try line. Now Arata, it's the ball in again, and Uruguay did have quite the dominant first scrum in this fixture. Looks like they're holding relatively strong. Namibia now pop up, and it will be their penalty advantage in favour of Uruguay. Picked up off the back, and they will go back for the penalty. And it looks like they will go for the scrum again. Was born Zimbabwe, says Randre. So they are just talking to Kutsia there, a man who has actually started all 4 games of this Rugby World Cup for the Namibians, so he's been extremely busy. Now another scrum has been called. I was born in South Africa, since we are all announcing, says Stan. Whereabouts in South Africa, Stan, were you born? Quite a large area, isn't it? I was learning a little bit of general knowledge and whatnot the other day in terms of there were 2 countries that were inside of South Africa that I then learnt what they were, and now, of course, I've forgotten them. Yes, my born in Namibia, Windhoek, and also, but these old school legends, be it Italy and Ireland, and that was the Western Province in 87. And on Newlands, says Randre, and also say Redesburg. Says Stans. Okay, so Redesburg, whereabouts is that? I really don't know my South African knowledge, unfortunately, or geography, as well as I would like. Now, big scrum from Uruguay, breaking off the back this time, but well stopped by the Namibian defence. Now to the right-hand side, Ardo, a little bit closer, Arata, going to the right-hand side. This is when Uruguay need to strike back. Krieger, and apologies, Corne Krieger was born in Zambia, actually. I was saying earlier, Rugby Itch has a very hybrid accent. He does indeed. It's very hard to tell where he is from. That's gone over for the try. And Uruguay, with their number 15, Ayaza, has been able to score, or Amaya, sorry, has scored their first try of the match for them. You nailed it, just south of Bloemfontein. Says it was there from Stan. A good flat run. Amaya scores the try for Uruguay. Namibia defensively didn't look too bad. And I don't even know where Redesburg is. If almost Uruguay, you can make it, says Orlando. And yes, starting their comeback now. Getting themselves down by 2 tries. Tian Swanepoel maybe just tackled him a little bit too high, which then allowed the Uruguay player to flop down over the try line. Get himself that first point on the board for the Uruguayans here. Well, we will go like this. We'll go like that. But yeah, anyone who doesn't know the Springboks, they will actually be announcing their side during this match, which is a bit of a weird one. I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like on one side of things, I mean, they do normally announce it around this time, but I would have thought they'd change it a little bit so that people would watch Namibia versus Uruguay first. And as it is their African brothers in this match for Namibia. The kick has gone wide, 14 points to 5, and also Namibia's flag, says Undine there, and go Namibia, says Albert, and vamos, Los Teros, says Gus, and Namibia need to keep their head ups, stay calm and keep applying pressure, says Sean Lees. Yeah, but Rassi is weird, you know that, says Dylan, very true. I feel like if anyone was going to announce a team during another match of the Rugby World Cup, and I think that's going to be the only time that we see that happen, it would be Rassi Erasmus. I like these low-tier matches. They bring bring a fair heat of their own to the game. And nice to see the development in action, says Mr. Novelbro. And vamos, Uruguay, get a bonus point, says AJ. Yes, go Namibia, says Kev. And also go Namibia, says Caden. But now just outside of the 22 here, Uruguay, getting themselves slightly back into the contest. There's actually a chance that both of these sides walk away with the bonus point for 4 or more tries throughout this game. And go Namibia, says Albert. Now Arata puts a high on his left, nicely taken, uncontested for Bautista Basso. So nice and easy for him to be able to keep his hands on the ball for Uruguay. Corne, it was Kringa, was born in Lusaka, Zambia, says Monet Lagrange. And also Namibia was also a part of South Africa. It was called Southwest Africa, says Stahl. Namibia once again forcing the error from Uruguay when it came to that backline movement. Just not quite getting it right there. Round and behind, and then the knock on inside of the 22. And that is somewhere that Namibia, like they said, they've done their homework. They've worked out how to try and put this Uruguayan backline under more pressure. You see the disappointment on some of the faces of the players. So 18 minutes remaining in this half. And also wasn't Percy Montgomery born in Namibia or something? He was indeed. Current 4-pack. Yanevi, the captain for the Namibians. Richard Hardwick at 8. I feel like he might be a very decent option for going off the back here. Comeback is on its way, says AJS. Now ball fed in by Damian Stevens. I should say, if Namibia win today, 27th of September, new public holiday, says Jan. And Namibia is the best in the world, says Caden. Now going to the right-hand side. Yanevi chopped down like a tree. That low tackle made by Aliaga. Now to the left-hand side once more. Big crash and run from Kutsia. Damian Stevens back across to the left-hand side. Another advantage in favour of Namibia for Uruguay being offside. I thought about popping the ball up, and in fact it's going to be turned over, so they will go back for the original penalty. All my three older brothers fought in the Angola War in South Africa, or Southwest Africa, now Namibia. Says Albert, as far as I know, Beast is Zimbabwean descendant. Says Standard, does anyone call Ethan de Groot just Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy? Says David, I know that people have called him Ethan de Brute before. It's funny you mentioned that, because there was a part of that video when me and Rugby Itch were doing our predictions where we were pretty much calling Ethan de Groot by different names involving his last name, but then that all got cut out in the video, fun fact. But it was a lot of fun. How many South Africans are there in the Namibian team? Says Rashin, I do not have the numbers, but I think we've learned throughout this Rugby World Cup, when you really look through it, there are players from all around the world playing for different nations currently. And I guess that's just the beauty of rugby, the diversity of the competition. The fact that pretty much no matter what side you look at throughout history, they have had players born in different regions. We've just been talking about Zimbabwe and Beast being a big shout. That kick has gone over. The 3 points is taken by Namibia, and now they sit 17 points to 5. And Corne Kringa was the Springbok captain of 2003 World Cup, says Mornay. And also boxing the ABs in the final, says AJS. And the group translates to the big. And he is certainly the big, although he will not be playing in this game up against the Italians, as he did get himself a yellow card, turned into red, and been suspended for 2 weeks. That challenge kicked off high from Uruguay, who do still find themselves 12 points down. Richard Hardwick knocks that ball on. So now Uruguay playing under the knock-on advantage just outside of the Namibian 22. Okay, advantage now called off. Arata going off to the right-hand side. Big shot coming in on Herman Kessler there. Now back to the right again. Slinging past Echeverri. Nice slow tackle made. And also we got there, I read my Kuban about the Angolan War by Brayton. And also we got there 86 plus 87, says Mark. Now another penalty advantage going the way of Uruguay. Means they can throw absolutely everything into this. Damn Namibia winning, and Namibia has better beer than South Africa, says Nicky. And also this Namibian team look really good, man, says Stan Paulson. They're looking like a side who's gone out there with, I guess, not so much a chip on their shoulder, but a point to prove. The ball is stolen. They will go back for their original penalty advantage. Now, Uruguay did very well against France. Yo, Africa says, cool story, bro. And England with the easy path could end up upsetting the World Cup by tumbling into the final. I hope not, says Albert. Offside from Namibia. Like they've said, even Swanepoel coming off the wing, trying to rush up and stop the chance of Uruguay really flowing with this back line. So they are making the decision to go for the corner. And also, Mark Respect, I just missed it. Thankfully, did my service 89.90. Says Stan. Kicked into touch. 10 metres out from the line. Uruguay now with the rolling maul chance. Still 14 minutes remaining. I would love to hear 50,000 people yell Groot when he gets the ball, says David Vickers. That was always something that was awesome about seeing Beast play, was the fact that no matter where you were in the world, whether or not it was a fully home crowd for South Africa or whether it was pretty much all away fans, you always heard that Beast chant or that Beast hollowing around the ground when he was playing. And also we have got there, really like Black Label Beer. What are your thoughts on the Namibian captain being banned for 5 games? It's understandable. I'd like to think that in the future, though, it's another rolling maul try. Herman Kessler gets it for Uruguay, and that will help them get just that little bit further back into this match. But yeah, I'd like to think that challenges in the future, or like suspensions in the future, aren't going to be based off how badly injured the opposition player is, because normally if it gets down that route, then we're going to start seeing, some very big challenges put onto hard players that aren't going to be called as big as suspensions, if that makes sense. Did I just say a word? I don't know. It is currently 5:15 a.m, so my brain is half asleep. But yeah, if you put in a big shot, you should be given that suspension either way. Like for him, I believe it was the right call because, yeah, it was a pretty dangerous challenge. You should get Forrest Gillenmeet on as a guest. He's a huge box fan, says Alt History Sports. Did you ever see Uli Smith in action? He always won the fights for South African medical doctor these days, says Dan. I sadly did not, as Lesapai Nanuku injured, says Gareth. He is not. The All Blacks just don't like selecting the logical choices, Gareth, as we've learnt throughout the last little while. Same with the Hurricanes when the ball or the ball would push up the middle, says David. That one is now going to be going over. Score sitting 12 points to 17 in favour of Uruguay. Australia, is Australia virtually out of the Rugby World Cup following big loss to Wales? Yeah, they're very unfortunate, the Australians, that they haven't been able to find that form that they were after. They've got their game up against Portugal this weekend, but I don't believe they should be able to get enough points from that to be able to walk away. He does the Wild Times podcast. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast as a guest. Says Alt History Sports. Now Tian Swanepoel kicks it off high again. We're already 30 minutes through this game. Both sides looking pretty strong throughout the early stages of the match. When I saw him starting on the World Rugby team announcement, says Gareth, really? Well, that is a plot twist because I know that the All Blacks announced Mark Talia, but I'll have a quick look just to check. One moment. Oh, I'm back on the All Blacks one. So yeah, Mark Talia is number 11 for the ABs. But we'll go on to the Rugby World Cup one. Have a quick look as well. Jermaine Kessler. Sounds like he should be playing for Namibia, says Fleshin. And also, we have got there hi from Mozambique, says Orlando. Welcome in. Did they change it recently? Because I see that Lesapai Nanuku isn't on it now if he was. Oh, where'd that thingy go? There we go. There's the game. And Hamish, have you ever played rugby? If so, what position did you play? I used to play when I was a lot younger, to play out on the right wing normally, or the left wing, depending on what position needed filled. But we were in a team with a very selfish 9 and 10, so I never touched the ball. Throughout 2 seasons, I touched it twice. I scored a try on one of those touches, and then the rest of the season was just tackling simulator. So it was slightly unfortunate. Australia do actually have an outside chance of qualification. A lot of things have to go their way, but it's not impossible. Yeah, we're talking 99% chance that they will be missing out. A little bit similar to Scotland in terms of their chance of making it through to the Rugby World Cup. Although I'd say, like, at the end of the day, they're probably about a 95% chance. 95% chance that they don't. Do you think people are underestimating the All Blacks, says Martin? I think that people are in agreement that the All Blacks are out of form. It's just whether or not the All Blacks can actually find that form before those quarterfinals. Great work over the ball there from Virginio. Does manage to get the turnover for Uruguay. All the best rugby players or Aussie players are wasted on rugby league, says Alt History Sports, and that's one thing that they will have to look at in the future in terms of how can they get a few more of those players from league going to rugby union before they go down that rugby league route. Audi Amish says, just go, welcome in, mate. And Aussie, how's it been a while? Hope you're well. Says, just go, and fun fact about Beast. I went to school with him and got the nickname in high school in Zimbabwe at Peterhouse before we went to another school called Churchill. The nickname followed him to South Africa, says F. Anderson. And they say, yeah, sometimes, nicknames, there's some that stick and others that you kind of lose when you're in high school. I don't think I really had a nickname in high school now I think about it. Oh, in fact, my nickname that I had in high school was probably still the same as it is now from the cricket side of things. Hello, all, says Gareth. Now, 32 minutes into this game. Looks like there's a bit of an injury here to Captain Yanevi. Right now, just going over to check whether or not he's all right to continue. Australia will win the Aussie Rules Football World Cup, says Rishin. And also we have got there 4 of the 6 members of the WWWRFU. RFC. There, what's your nickname? Slinky, says Gareth. It wasn't, although I probably would have taken Slinky. Slinky Definitely because I was spinning now. I feel like I have to try and make that one stick during the season, won't I? See how it goes. Hi, all says Benny Lane, welcome in. What a World Cup so far, says Just Carl. Oh, it looks like it's the contact lens of Yanivi, so he will be able to continue this match, of course. And also we have got there, and with that, do you think people are overestimating Ireland, says Martin? I don't think overestimating is the right word for the Irish, because I guess with the fact that they're on that 16-match winning streak, they definitely have proven a lot of people wrong, and they will want to keep on going throughout this Rugby World Cup. I was Mr. Unicorn at school, says Dylan. Okay, was there any reason for that, or just because you... I assume it was something to do with the horn, but I'm concerned at where we're going with that. Oh, penalty goes the way of Namibia. And line-out time, closing the gap a little bit too much. I got there a sign in the crowd, Johan Dezel, we forgive you if Anton Dupont is back. Sign that's up there. Something, or for Scotland, a simple 2 bonus point wins. Don't let Ireland get any bonus points. Says Venster. Hamish, you just mentioned a little sleep. But are you well rested, or does World Rugby need to compensate you for this brilliant commentary, says Denzel? I mean, I am definitely not well rested at this stage throughout the last, I'd say 2 weeks. This week has been even worse than the last 2, though, I've realised. But you were doing all right. The eyes are still open. That's the main thing. How Namibia winning. They've played the better game throughout the early stages. It just stuck for some reason, says Dylan Simpson. And they haven't won a World Cup, says Diago, but they haven't won a World Cup. Well, it's one of those interesting ones, isn't it? Because, like, in certain regards, not winning the World Cup, of course, will be held against them. But we've got to remember, this is a very different Irish side than we have seen in past years. And historically, of course, if you're looking at the bigger picture of, like, they didn't win way back in the day, they didn't win in 2019, then you would say maybe people are giving them a lot of credit now. But at the end of the day, like, being on a 16-match winning streak with wins over the Springboks, wins over the All Blacks, France, Wales, England, all the top sides around the world, like, there's still reason to get behind them, you know? Oh, you've got there, you can't say you had a nickname, then not tell us what it is, Shag, says David. It's like not even fun. It's just my last name with a Y on it. Like, it's not even a great one, and it was only really from cricket, you know. Oh, Damien Stevens trying to tease the Uruguayans with a run around the side. I wonder how Eddie Jones is feeling today. This is the worst Australia side I've ever seen, says Mornay Lagrange. And I'm neutral this game, says Penny Lane. I wonder if Ireland are going to get a fine for having the medics not bring water items to players on the field last game. Yeah, we did see Johnny Sexton got himself a little 5-hour energy pocket thingy. A little bottle, didn't he? Looks like they are going to take on the 3 points here, Namibia. Dan Swanepoel just to try and increase that lead outside of the 7 points. I was called Pudding Face in school. Then I became Stalberger after one fight. And also I figured they would have called you Hammy, says David. The ladies at school called me Hammy. But yeah, the lads had a different name for myself. I love Namibian Kado Biltong. I was called Lange and Bigfoot in high school. I'm 194 centimetres tall, wearing size 13, don't ask, says Denzel. Did you play lock back at school then? With that little bit of extra height, that Swanepoel kick has gone over. Now making the score 20 points to 12 in favour of the Namibians. Now they have still got 5 minutes of work throughout this first half, but a much better start for the Namibians than they have had in their past games, already getting themselves 2 tries. Now Uruguay. This ball downfield, I was Inspector Gadget to the girls. Okay, okay. I want to ask why, but I'm worried too, David. But what were you inspecting? They'll kick downfield towards the halfway line. Uruguay will have themselves this line-out throw here. Let's go Namibia, says Justin. And Lowell says David. There as well. But I don't think both of these sides will be making too many changes in the early stages of the second half. The thing is, maybe Uruguay consider making some changes just because they haven't quite found that flowing that they would have liked throughout this game. Nicely thrown in, whipped away to the left-hand side here. For the Uruguay side, Biltong is lekker, says AJS. I'm still yet to try it, but I have been told many times that I should give it a go at some point. Nice attack and run from Bautista Basso. Uruguay looking to get straight back into this game. Vamos Uruguay, says AJS there as well. Now 3.5 minutes remaining in this one. Nice stepping. Moving up to 40 metres out for Filippo Arcos Perez. Wait, so Shag as in Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, says Gareth. Or my nickname wasn't Shag, no. Unless your nickname was, no. I watched a lot of Scooby-Doo. Maybe that would have been a good nickname. Although calling a child Shag when you were also a child, I should mention, is, I guess it's a weird nickname to have, isn't it? A good stuff for the win, boys. We need this. Rugby needs this, says Randre. And Biltong, it's be a little wet, says Justin. Okay, but not wet to the point that it's just like the original meat. Yanivi looks like, okay, he is actually down with an injury this time with his knee, but looks like he wants to continue this match rather than stopping. 2 tries apiece for these two sides throughout the first half. Namibia scoring the first 2. I just said there that they haven't got Johan Retief due to a spider bite. Score will end 27 points to 33. Is that in favour of Uruguay or in favour of Namibia? Rico and Shag is just what people say. Every guy, when they can't remember their names, says David. Yeah, I've heard that a little bit in the building side of things. People will just be like, I was going to say, how's it, Shag? But that's very South African of me, isn't it, with how's it? And also, Dissel Boom at school, then Grassburn at uni. Hit won't go into that, says it was there from Jan, and this was the score at some point, or it was the score at some point in Uruguay versus France game. True. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because you look at these two sides' performances up against France, and they're completely different, whereas when they match up, it seems like it could be a whole different result. Apparently, rugby is now the number 2 most popular sport in Uruguay. There are no girls at my school, and my main nickname was offensive now, says Fleshin. And I was called Ballas. Says Stan was in Namibia. Best lamb from the south, best biltong, Botswana, best cattle, best steaks, says Randre. And thought you call a guy with bum fluff in his chin shag, says Gareth. I guess you could. I don't think it's a requirement, though, to be called shag overall. You also call a bird shag. Not like a literal, like some people call women birds, but like a bird down by the sea, there's like a shag. Fun fact. Almost fishing season as well here in New Zealand. We had to go catch a trout. Can you turn trout into biltong, or would that be too tricky? And Uruguay like to come back in the second half. Beware, Seth Thiago. Now nice break and run from Amaya, the man who was able to get himself the try in the first half. Now slinging off to the right-hand side here. Just seems a little bit stop-start for the Uruguayans at the moment, though. Getting shut down relatively early, sticks and pieces. Biltong is nice, but you can't go wrong with drivers. And I was about Uruguay played a second-string French team, and Namibia played the full-string French team. Says Risham, very true. It's going to be kicked downfield, and nice clearing kick. 50 seconds remaining in this first half. Now I've heard rumours that Eddie Jones is going to Japan to coach the Japanese side, says Mornay. That is a rumour that was thrown around just before the Aussies game up against the Welsh. You know, that's a bit of Hollywooding from the number 15 for Uruguay. Diving after getting hit by Hardwick's maybe shin, if that. And also we have got there one moment. Namibia best slam. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Namibia 33, Uruguay 27, says El Rico in there as well. I don't know what's happening. Just joined the live, so happy for Namibia. Hope they win, says Sino. Now ball being thrown in by Namibia. Only 30 seconds remaining in this first half. In fact, only 3 seconds now. Damian Stevens kicks the ball into touch. And that will be half-time, ladies and gentlemen. 20 points to 12 in favour of Namibia, coming in as big underdogs, heading into this contest, and now be sitting the way that they are with the lead. I'm sure that they will be very happy Indeed, but anyone who is new to the channel, I should mention, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more rugby action coming in the near future. We are covering all games of this weekend. Should mention that the Springboks, they are also going to be announcing their side in 15 minutes time, which is slightly unfortunate. Normally we do the video straight away on the channel, but we will be waiting till after this game, I believe, to be able to record that one. Not enjoying the diving, creeping into rugby. It's why I don't watch soccer, says Dylan. And no such thing as fish biltong. Well, I had to ask, just in case, because I'm more likely to catch a fish than I am to catch a cow, you know? Or a heifer, I guess I should call it. And fish biltong equals dry fish, says Flesh. And yeah. And I guess you don't really want a dry fish, do you? Well, you want it dry enough. Like, you want to, of course, have a doubt to it. But, yeah. Yeah, I guess that wouldn't work. Dry mango isn't bad. I would agree. I haven't tried it in a long time, but I bloody love a mango, so that would be perfect. Now I want a mango. Mangoes over here at the moment are like $10, and they're not even that good. Where can I watch this match for free? Says Drew Uno. Depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on what options you have got. But if you do go on the Rugby World Cup website, they will tell you exactly where you can watch this game without any charges, or sometimes there is a subscription fee depending on whereabouts you are in the world. Dry fish is common in many parts of the world, says the Big V8 show. And at the bar, says Darren. Can't believe you said it on air, Hamish. So sorry, says Stan there. And also we have got there, no worries. I have biltong next Saturday on my B-day, says Denzel. And also actually in Iceland, they do have a type of fried fish. I say it plus biltong fish. Says it was there from Jason and Denzel. I am serious. I actually felt sorry for my friend. I can never find shoes to fit comfy, says Stull there. I know that there's a man in the UFC who's nicknamed Shoeface, which I'm sure is a pretty fun nickname to have. I can't remember his name, though. He's a Brazilian fella. Do get fish biltong, says Bruce. What an interesting group it would be if you had Group D for the lowest ranked nations. This type of rugby, and you have two of them progressing to the next round, says Roger. Although the only problem with that would be two quarterfinal games that are extremely one-sided, is the sad thing about it. But I would love to see all the sides that get eliminated from the World Cup after the first round go head-to-head in a miniature tournament while the quarterfinals and whatnot are taking place. I feel like that is an idea that they could look at in the near future. I'm about to sneeze. We are good. And also, balajo, dried salted cods, is a very common ingredient in Portuguese-speaking countries, says the Big V8 show. And also there is salmon jerky, not the same thing, I know, says Gus there. And also we have got there, looks like the name on a roll, says Charles. And also bukalau is also a Norwegian word. And can Namibia do it, says Sportsfan. I think they've got a decent chance in this game. To be honest, they came out firing a lot better than a lot of people did anticipate for the Namibians, which is already ideal from the get-go. And best I've seen Namibia play in ages, especially defense. Thought Uruguay would get bonus point easy win. I reckon Namibia can win this. They do come in as $2.35 underdogs now, Namibia, compared to at the start of this game when they were around $8 underdogs. We've got to remember, this is a side that have never won themselves a game in a Rugby World Cup, so how monumental would it be to do it in this matchup up against the Uruguayans? And I think that by the time I've had build-up, good confidence and experience, says Roger, and also South Africa versus New Zealand in the finals would be legendary, says AJS. Sorry, but pissed here, dry fish in Iceland equals fish biltong, says Jason Whitehead. Oh, we have got there, dried fish is very salty, and it's called bokoms. If they've said that correctly, and bless you, says Rich, thank you very much. Currently, meat is made actually relatively similar, although an extra 100 for the Namibians. Tackles missed for Namibia's 18 compared to the 9 missed from the Uruguayans. And these days you can dry anything, even bananas, just dip it in lemon juice so they don't go black, says Stull. And did you get your bokoms, says Charles? Me, I have not, no. Was I supposed to? I did once see a big sausage at the supermarket, but that's a bit different, of course. But it was I always say it wrong, Boros. But yeah, I didn't end up getting it. I just got here what is the time, says Berenice. Currently half-time between these two sides, 20 points to 12 in favour of the underdogs, Namibia. And they do still sit as the underdogs here. Hope Namibia win, been there a few times to race modified saloons in 1990s. I still have the trophy, says Bruce. And I have Uruguay by 14, not looking good, says AJS, although second half still around the corner. And we do know that both of these sides, because they haven't been playing as much rugby, some of those top sides, they will start to tire just a little bit later on. The team name on Namibia, not name, says it was there from Charles. If you're about to get mugged in Cape Town, you know, because you smelled the dried fish first, says Gareth. And also, mate, practicing math instead of watching Oz was the best call I've made. Got 87% on calculus paper, and Eddie is leaving Australia, says Chronic. What do you think of tomorrow's game between Japan and Samoa? It's an important game for both of those two sides. I hope that it is a close game. Pacific Nations Cup, we did see the Samoans sneak it, 24 points to 22. I wouldn't be surprised if that is a similar score to what we see in that game tomorrow morning. We have got there, Hamish, you should visit Namibia. And it's stunning, go Skeleton Coast, says Stan. South Africa won't beat France, says David Vickers. So I think it's going to be a good game either way, isn't it? I wouldn't even mind South Africa losing to the All Blacks in the final, as long as it's just the Southern Hemisphere there. Says cool story, bro. And just maybe the Namibians will win, says Charles. I'm watching from Nigeria, says Master. Have you ever played badminton? I have. I used to actually be relatively decent at badminton. I once went to a South Island Schools event here in New Zealand. And I'm currently choking. And tomorrow's game will be a tough one. Methinks, says the Chica. And South Africa would smoke France with Pollard, says AJS. And say how many points is Namibia having? Says Tobias. You know when you got that tickle in your throat you just can't get rid of? Remember my complaints about reefing? Says Charles, I certainly do. You were very, I guess, persuasive in your argument, Boaz Hamish. Delish on brie or dried, so it was still a wet sausage, yeah. So it had to be cooked. But it was raw. And I'm from Namibia, says Tobias. Whatever it was, Skelton. Bit of an injury, I believe it was his leg, if I'm not wrong. And Uruguay are getting Uruguayed a bit there. And Namibia are far more up for this game. Clearly targeted it as a winnable game in their group. We have got there, what the heck, Abby, to the first half in tonight's game. What a surprise. Says the Chica, yeah, certainly a better performance for Namibia than a lot of people were anticipating. I said that this was their best chance walking away with their first ever Rugby World Cup victory. And at the moment, they are playing like a side that certainly want to do just that. We'll check the odds for this game. Like I mentioned earlier on, it was $2.35. It's great work from Tian Swanepoel, though, throughout their half. I don't understand rugby, but my favourite sport is cricket. Says Master, and I feel like Namibia are going to be scoreless in the second half. And I think the Samoa might win against Japan, but Japan can surprise any team on the day. And our man has a game. Have you been, says Ashley? It's been a close game so far throughout these two sides. But yeah, it'll be interesting for that second half because, like I mentioned, normally both of these sides would start to tire as the match wears on. Both changing rooms looking fired up, though. That Marks injury really sucks, says AJS. And Namibia is doing a good job. Keep going, Namibia, says Vincent. And Uruguay's sick of getting bashed like Japan, says David Vickers. And from Namibia, so proud, says Luzanne. I should mention that in 6 minutes, the Springboks will be announcing their squad, or sorry, their lineup for their game up against Tonga. They have decided to announce it during the game between Namibia as well as Uruguay rather than waiting until after. So it means that it's going to be a shame in a way, because I think a lot more people will be talking about the Springboks lineup than they are about if Namibia get themselves the monumental victory. And it's like, if you can magically make any country a massive rugby country, loads of investment, professional teams, massive support, who do you pick and why? Says, oh, well, if you were going to try and pick anyone, you'd go with a very large country in terms of population, because, like, if you're talking about investments, of course, eventually you want it to start paying for itself while the country is running. So you go with somewhere with a large population as a good option. We have got there France. I must not underestimate Italy. You're talking about salami. It's like a huge dry borders. It was not a salami, no. It was actually like the big rolled sausage with the stick through it. So it was all holding together. And it was in the like the meat section rather than the processed stuff. We have got there, Hamish, is your second job as a cricketer? It is not. No, I'm not that great at cricket overall. But hopefully this year I start doing a little bit better. Last year we did have the GoPro on our helmet, and we will be continuing that this year. Where do you get the lineup? Says AJS, depending on whereabouts or depending on who it is for the side that announces it. Normally for the Springboks, I'll check their social medias. For some of the other teams, I'll look on the Rugby World Cup group or like the website or something along those lines. Tell me, is Namibia out or not? If they win, says the buy, so they will still be out, but it would be their first ever Rugby World Cup victory. Hamish, how's your watermelon? Says on the fly, watermelon here at the moment I see is like $45 per watermelon. Which is very sad. Whoa, I sneezed so hard I made the camera go blurry. Hello, there we go. But yeah, if it wasn't $45 for a watermelon, I would consider one, because I do quite enjoy a watermelon. Hello, Hamish. I felt weird to not be in the chat for a couple of days, says La Chica. But yeah, it's gonna be an exciting weekend, because we got plenty of rugby just around the corner. Germany, probably the future Tier 2 rugby nation, are not giving away any penalties, being through also thorough in how they do things. Says like Bringer, and also we have got there, damn, that's hella expensive. Says Darren, it is, which is a big shame. Do you have a cold? I do not. I've just got hay fever, but if I was going to get a cold, it would probably be this week due to the lack of sleep and the fact that I was out and about yesterday. I love Namibia's cricket team. David Visa is my favourite cricketer, and also even if Namibia wins today, they'll be out of the group stages because it will only be the top two teams. They play in the quarterfinals. Those winners will play the semi-final, and the two winners will play the final, says Desmond. And also, bless you, says La Chica. And also, please, Bok, have Hondre starting, says AJS. Alright, we will go like this. And also, must have a spot to get rid of that cough, says Charles. And I won 2 out of 3 of my judo tournament. And then my mum made me focus on swimming. And everyone was good at swimming, ruined my life, says Cool Story Bro. And even if Namibia wins today, they will be out of the group stages because it will only be the two teams. And then those winners will play the semi-final, and 2 winners will play the final, says Desmond. And also in Barcelona, watermelon is about $5 New Zealand dollars for a whole one. That is a bargain. But yeah, you can buy like a little tiny piece of a watermelon, and it is very expensive here, like $8 or something for one that's like that. You're missing out on a lot of good meats and fruits. South African fruits or foods are the best, says Just. What's the update on the SA cricket auction? Please reply me any South African. I'm not sure. I know that it was live on the South African T20 channel. If I'm not wrong, thanks man, didn't know that. Says Gareth, and also New Zealand's currency is 11 times better than South Africa's. Says AJS, and I took my first wicket on debut, mate, in our club, and we won. Says Ashley. Good stuff. It took me a little while to get a wicket for this season, but once I did, to be fair, I don't think I've got a good wicket yet from last year. So hopefully this year I'll do a bit better. Good evening, Hamish. Good to see Namibia in front for a change, says Stefan. And yeah, currently they've got a decent lead. Dion Swanepoel about to kick this one off for the second half of rugby, ladies and gentlemen. And Matthew Raynell now blows his whistle. And we are underway. I'll be back soon. Cheers, says AJS. So We'll see a little bit later on. And yeah, it is 5:45, which does mean the Springboks more than likely will be announcing their team right at this moment, or at least very soon, in the rugby world, ladies and gentlemen. We will move that over to there, just so that we can see it. So now rolling it back into their 22 here, Uruguay. Put this ball up high will be Arata. And also $3 US for a whole watermelon in the Rust Belt, says David. So yeah, that is a bargain compared to what we get. Yep, it's up on Instagram, says Dylan. One moment, we will go like this. And we will go like that. Let's keep it up, Namibia. Did they put Pollard at 10? They did. Reinach at 9. Dwayne Vermeulen 7's an interesting choice. And Vincent Cox actually back from injury. That is good news. Big driving tackle made backwards, and the penalty does go the way of the Namibians. So I will mention, as soon as this live stream is over, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing our video so that we can, pretty much do the Springbok announcement. It will be a little bit later than we normally would do it. But, yeah, that is just due to this game also taking place at the same time. So if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated. And 5 free split, says Dylan Simpson there. Andre Pollard and Marnie Libok will be in the squad. I cannot see how they will play, or we will play Tonga. I'll leave Jesse Creel out. He is on the bench, Jesse Creel as number 22, I see. And let's go, says Willem in South Africa, or Watermelon in South Africa. Will be like 50 cents New Zealand on special if you buy it next to the road, says Albert. One moment, I am about to sneeze again, so we will quickly mute this. Right, we are good. And that kick from Tian Swanepoel has gone over, ladies and gentlemen, to now make the score 23 points to 12 in favour of Namibia. This is a lead that is starting to get relatively lopsided. 11 points difference. Of course, one try from Uruguay will take them straight back into it. Last time I saw Watermelon at Spa, they were expensive, like 120 Rand. Watermelon is like 50 Rand in South Africa, says Sergio. And New Zealand is like horse in this year in the World Cup. And yeah, Pollard, says Albert. And now Rassi is playing games, says it was there from Snicky. But now kicked up high from Damian Stevens. The box kick taken not so cleanly there by Amaya. And it is now going to be the scrum feed in favour of the Namibians. Don't waste the watermelon rinds away. Cook them in a syrup and make candy delicious, says Stahl. And also we have good there. Does cricket have ray tracing now? I'm not too sure. I know they have, that like projected line for LBWs and whatnot, but I'm not sure about ray tracing. An evening from a warmer Cape Town Kiwi lads and rugby rockers, says Ruth. Welcome in, Ruth. Hope you are doing extremely well. Seeing some deep breaths being taken high, says Joe D. Welcome in. So far, 8 handling errors from Uruguay compared to the 23. We have got there. What's the update on the S20 or SA20 cricket auction? Once again, there's a YouTube channel that is showing it live. The official, I think it's the SA20 YouTube channel. So I haven't been able to watch it because just like you, I'm here doing this commentary. Lecce, season's coming. They apparently are really nice. A massive hit from Namibia 7. So that's the captain, Yonevi. Once again, putting in a shift. Not box mate, says Gerd, and that will be actually the penalty going the way of Uruguay. Scrum going straight down from the Namibians. Your culinary tips are through the roof. Sure you're not a professional chef, says Denzel, and would like to see Namibia end under 100 points difference in the pools, says Stefan. And who do you think will win the Rugby and Cricket World Cup, says Sergio? At the moment for the Rugby World Cup, I believe either Ireland or South Africa have a very good chance going on to win it. For the Cricket World Cup, I haven't really seen a huge amount recently, but I would say that India probably decent shout, although saying that, they do normally end up going out in the later stages of a World Cup rather than winning it. Rassi is going to be referee in the quarterfinals, says was there from Reshin and Mangoes as well. And also we get their watermelon only expensive in the city in South Africa, says Albert. Keep going, Namibia, says Hillary. And now Uruguay, another attacking chance. Big shot coming in there from Dean Swanepoel. Stopped him in his tracks. 2 metres from the line now, though, for the Uruguayans. I mentioned now they were 11 points down, but if they score now, they will be right back into this contest. Round to the left-hand side, another advantage going the way of the Uruguayans. And I keep your lads, hope you well, says KFS. And doing very well, mate. Thank you very much for being here once again. We've got 7 more live streams over the weekend of these matches for the Rugby World Cup. Echeverri getting driven backwards big time here. Couple more good shots on him. And had a course in cooking at the Carlton Centre years ago. And learned further from there, says Stull. Now back across to the right-hand side. And they will go back for the original penalty in favour of Uruguay. Go for the win, Namibia. Make Africa proud. Show the world you are African, says Desmond. Yeah, it would be a monumental victory for the Namibians here. And mate, your commentary is fantastic, says Charles. Thank you very much. And watching from Nigeria, says Master Okoya. And there as well. The set piece of Uruguay, when they get it right, can be extremely dangerous. But as soon as, they're showing there the challenge, it was close to rolling up. Are you related to Kane Williamson, the Kiwi captain? I am not. Although some people have said that I look a little bit similar to him, but nowhere near as much as one of the local mechanics does. Like, I sometimes think, Kane Williamson's got himself a side hustle in fixing cars. Our little brothers are on their way to the first Rugby World Cup win. Fantastic, says Peter. Yeah, I wish South Africa had announced their lineup at a slightly different time. Just because I feel like a lot more people are going to be looking at that South African lineup than Namibia's win if they do walk away with a victory. I feel like it would have been quite cool to see it at a different time. Like, even if it's just like an hour later for the Springboks to announce it, or an hour earlier for the game did take place. We have got there in the chat as well. Love your commentary. Greetings from Somerset, Western South Africa. Where you at? France or New Zealand, says good. So I am in New Zealand. So we're currently sitting 5:52 a.m. So a relatively late night for us here. Denzel Adams will be nice to win both, says Sergio. Penalty goes the way of Uruguay once more. Double blow of the whistle. And this now looks like it is going to be a yellow card for Namibia's front row. It is Johannes Kutsia who'll be going off. You need a spot to get rid of it, says Charles. And careful, you wake up the police again, says Thabo. And Namibia, a definitive or definite bucket list place to visit, says Hillary. The second penalty in a row. And I agree, mate. Thanks, says Gert. Straight down for Kutsia. And I mentioned that he has played every game of this Rugby World Cup up to date. And that's 43 minutes. It's taken a very long time. Says Old Sports. There we go. It has now updated to 49. It was a bit frozen for ourselves. There we go. We'll go like that as well. It looks like there's going to be a change here. Khal Seb making his way from the field. Don't worry, South Africans are rooting for Namibia to win. And Rishton, this year South Africa will win the Cricket World Cup and Rugby, both World Cups, says Master. And if Namibia takes this one, we'll have to buy the boys new cars, says Cato. Well, that's the thing. So many of these players, they've worked for years and years to get this opportunity. And now that it's here, they definitely do not want to have it go away. But 32 minutes remaining, still under pressure with the fact that they're playing with 14 men on the field now. Richard Hardwick on the side of the breakdown, or on the side of the scrum, rather than being off the back. What a performance by Namibia. Could they make history here? I'm eating a Windhoek salami and chilled beef biltong, says Roof. Big push from Uruguay. Arata now in behind Echeverri. The gap's opening up and the try is scored by Uruguay. Amaya gets his second, and this yellow card, the discipline of the Namibians could be what costs them here. Definitely, but the prices of biltong and fruit go through the roof, says Gert. What's the update? Once again, Master, it's on YouTube. They'll let you know. My dad once said to me, your ears painted on, boy. And that's a saying that comes to mind about now, Master. We've said about 4 times, you just choose not to listen. Look at that, Uruguay coming back, says Joe D. And also, I want some yummy, says Estelle. And this will be history if Namibia wins this today. They deserve the win, says Desmond. Although now they are going to be up against it for the next maybe 10 or so minutes with that yellow card. Great finish. As well, I think the crowd is saying maybe there was separation. I don't think there was. The only thing that might hurt him is putting the ball down possibly near the touchline. And come on, Namibia. You must win this. And Hamish Club Rugby, you should play at 10. What is that word? I should know it. Envisage you as a decent fly half? Is that the word? I feel like I need to go back to school, don't I? For that one. But I don't think that would be a good idea. Mainly because the guys in our local team are about 120 kgs. They all hit extremely hard and I just would get crushed in the first challenge. Come on, Namibia, you must win this one. And also Namibia already making history, win or lose. I'm so proud of them, says Kokos there. And history already made by Namibia with that score, says Hillary. Exactly right. Like, they've done very decently. How's the crowds? Are the stands full? They actually look relatively full for this match. To be honest, you can see Kutsia, the disappointment on his face, knowing that because of that yellow card, his side are going to be under a huge amount of pressure. Kicked off high. Nicely taken by, it was the youngster at number 14, Bautista Bazo. And cheers, thanks Desmond and Denzel. Are you Namibian guys? Says Ruben, Hamish, all says Die, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. It's awesome to have all you regulars all popping in for this live stream. I know that it's a midweek game rather than the weekend, but we've got plenty more coming, not just today, but also for the weekend as well. We will be doing our South African Springboks lineup video straight after this game. We weren't sure whether or not to do it during the match or not, but I decided we've got to finish out this contest and then go on to that next one. Kiwi, what is your real name? My real name is Hamish. So it's probably not a common name in Namibia or South Africa, to be fair, but nice inside ball there for the Namibians. They're going once more. Here comes Lubsa, found the offload to Damian Stevens. It was just a little bit too low, so he does knock the ball on. More disappointment for the Namibians, although I was going to say more disappointment, but it looks like they're all smiling about that one. I think they were just happy to be able to play it the way that they did, and that was actually Alcino Isaacs who did break there rather than Lobster. Well, Dan, says Jody, and also this chili biltong is super hot. Got it at Pick and Pay. And also Huamos Kiwi lads, says Blues. Now there if Namibia wins. Will it be their first victory in Rugby World Cup history? It would be, yes. And for Uruguay, they have been able to cause a few upsets in the past. They come into this game as favourites. Hamish is Irish, I believe Scottish, if I'm not wrong. My sister did an ancestry DNA test a while ago, and I think she got Scottish, Irish, and a few other things thrown in there as well. And we need a braai barbecue. I can see us all eating lekker from the snacks to meat. Worldwide tasty treats, says Denzel. I feel like something that would be awesome to do at some stage, probably after the World Cup, to be honest, because it's pretty hectic at the moment, but it would be quite cool. Oh no, I was going to say for me to try and do a braai on a live stream, but the problem is I only have a barbecue rather than a braai, so that probably wouldn't work. I'd have to try and find a braai. Where do you find a braai in New Zealand? I feel like I don't really know too many South Africans around the place. Leka, says Nicky, and I was going to go home, boys, Namibia, says Basil, although they want to go home with a victory first up against this Uruguayan team now sitting all stripped out of their hands by Berger. Now flick back. It's going to sit up again for Arata. A lot of luck going the way of Uruguay there, and it will lead to the try. Namibia, they'll feel like they've just been punched in the dick. That was just very lucky for Uruguay. About 3 times in a row, the ball ended up bouncing perfectly back into their hands. You can see the hands on the hips from Uruguay there, and Namibia are now down. And this match was the difference between a braai and a barbecue. Isn't a braai in like a kind of like a rock formation stove type thing or in a wall, whereas a barbecue is just kind of like you can roll it around. Nice try by Uruguay, is AJS. How many minutes before the game ends? There's still another 25 minutes remaining. I build a bride by chopping a metal drum in half and stick the grid of a shopping trolley on top. So Elementonics. And also Chiefs Ferguson will tell Hamish is Scottish. And Uruguay and Argentina also enjoy their brides and barbecue. Just cut a 44-gallon drum in half, put a grill on top and fire. And also I like that Boctine, says Albert. And braai is over coals after the fire. Barbecue is gas, says T in there. But that would be an interesting live stream, like a celebratory after World Cup barbecue that we have on the channel. And also we have got their brains, I meant Bryce, and 2 tries because of the yellow card, says Jody. And yeah, that's been hurting them big time here for Namibia. Discipline. That one moment Kutsia has realised that in his case, going off the field has now led to those 2 tries, and Namibia have to try and find a way back into this contest. A brilliant idea. Hamish is definitely Scottish, and so is his surname, says Gareth. And also braai is dangerous, barbecue not so dangerous, says Snicky. So Namibia now $7.50 underdogs. Just make sure you know what was in the drum, says Gus. And Namibia throwing their hard work away, says Houston. Yeah, they're going to need a big shift near the end of this game. Still 25 minutes remaining in this contest. And Namibia, says Valley. And yes, Biltong can really eat your pocket, but it tastes so lekker, man. We're not all so gifted in the kitchen like you, so we got to pay. And also Spanish ladies, hola Kiwi lads, says Blues Nate. And so sorry, but I need Namibia to lose here for Super Bruce, says Thabo. And also sounds like most people on here are South African, says Mark. Wait, right, we've got quite a few South African subscribers who do pop in, but also we've got to remember, like, the time zone wise works a lot better for South Africa at the moment. You can only call a braai if you are Afrikaans. And also Namibia cannot let victory slip from its hands. Rata putting up the box kick again here. Nicely taken. Big shot coming in there though. Echeverri finds the offload away. Oh, sorry, not Echeverri. In fact, it's going to be now Mutants. Does enjoy running hard at the line. How many minutes till the yellow card is over? It's still another 1 minute 30 remaining. The yellow card has cost Namibia. Know the difference. It's just a name like other countries call filling station. In South Africa, we call it a garage. Says Desmond. Yeah, see, we call it petrol station here, or a servo is the other thing that people call it. Or that's more the building next to it that you get like pies and stuff from. All the South Africans without DSTV are here. Says Rishan, and we will be here for every single game of the Rugby World Cup. So if you guys are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Oh, it's another knock on. And this time was the replacement, although the penalty does come back in favour of Namibia. Barbecue preparing a meal. Braai is a pisser, says Lightbringer. And there, if you don't burn yourself, then it's not a braai, says Cool Story Bro. Right, so I'm much safer off using a barbecue then. In that case, I would say. The thing is, though, to make it a nice time for you guys in South Africa for that barbecue live stream, we more than likely would have to start barbecuing at about 6 a.m. Which, I mean, wouldn't be a bad thing. What a way to start a day with a barbecue. But, yeah, it would just be a really weird time to start one. We love our Nam brothers. Them boys are solid, love them. Spend some quality time up there, courtesy of SADF. A man, best adventure, says Gert. Now 20 metres out. It looks like now the change is being made again. Can you recall the 1, 2, 3 clubs? 1 litre brandy, 2 litre Coca-Cola, and 3 litre Ford, says Gary Smith. Van Yarsfield, he's hardly had any line-outs throughout this game. Into yellow card. Come on, Namibia, says Jody. Yeah, now's their chance to get straight back into the match. I think I speak on behalf of all when I say F multi-choice, says Gareth. Right, the changes being made. Kutsia will make his way back out onto the field. The barbecue and braai is the same idea. Says morning, good evening. Says Blues Nate. Right, they're very confused at the moment. What's happened now? Oh, we've got a new player coming back onto the field. It was Gul Seb. He had been sitting off I'm in a different situation, or difficult situation. I'm a Namibian. I've never won a World Cup match, but on the other hand, I love Uruguay as the winners of my Super Brew with Bucks on our group. But Namibia for the win, says True Uno. Now it's fired across. Namibia picked that ball up nicely with Isaacs. Now Stevens. Back across to the left-hand side. It will be Sethi. He's had a bit of time in the starting lineup throughout this Rugby World Cup. In this game, though, coming off the bench, Uruguay. Fighting for the ball. They do not get the turnover. Hamish in South Africa, it's never too early for a braai or a beer. Says Stan and Vamos, one more try. Uruguay, Vamos. Says Blues, Nate. Now back across to the right-hand side. Sling and pass out wide. For it will be Mouton again. Busy throughout the last little while. Damien Stevens gets that ball off to the left-hand side. Once more big contact there. I think that might have just broken the nose of Diego Arbello, and the penalty goes the way of Uruguay. They will not be happy about that. Namibia, they were in with a good shot. Looks like the Uruguayan player is just giving a hug. He's very friendly to Yanivi. And South Africa, if I invite you to a braai at 2 a.m, then we're going back to my place with enough brandy, Coke and ice. We're going to braai anytime, anywhere. Says Andre. And also, I don't know if you answered this, but do you think of the real contenders for the World Cup? Says True Uno. I believe one of South Africa or Ireland are going to go on to win this Rugby World Cup. I haven't quite decided who yet. Even with that last result that we saw go the way of the Irish, I just feel like it's just so close at the moment in this World Cup competition. Give me gin and orange any day, no matter who's playing, says Ruth. Now kicked into touch by Uruguay once more. The difference, braai equals Borrowers. And barbecue equals hot dog, sausage, shrimp, hamburger patties. So I guess question, ladies and gents, other than a Borrowers, what else would you have as a barbecue food that makes it a braai rather than a barbecue? As a Kiwi, you are underestimating the All Blacks. I'm not so much underestimating them. I just want to be pleasantly surprised by them going out and improving. But with the selections that they've gone with throughout their first 3 games, it's evident that the selection's going to be one of the main problems for the ABs. We even see that in their most recent game where they're going head-to-head with Italy. Pep and Chakalaka. I have no idea what either of those two are, so I will star that so that I can Google it later. Braai Butiers. I feel like you guys are just giving me things that are very hard to say at this point. Chips. Wait, is that chops? Steak ribs? Steak and a soy sector. So maybe we need to have like a braai fund going at some point, and then we'll just end up buying a whole heap of random meat. Oh, counter ruck there. Unsuccessful from Sethi. And thanks. What are your thoughts on South Africa's kicking? Do you think Pollard will make a huge difference? They are strong, but the kicking made it hurts. Says True Uno. I mean, Pollard theoretically should be the stronger kicking option. But the big thing is, what if Pollard in this game up against Tonga misses a few kicks? Is it going to be the case of everyone turns against him as well, like they have for Mani Libok? Or because of what he's done in the past, will people get behind him that little bit more? Lamb chops and steaks, says Andre there. And also Kapana with chili sauce and Captain Morgan rum with Coke. It's African love their snoik. That's fish, isn't it? I've learnt that. So I might have to try and catch a fish T-bone, 3-bone sly, says Ernest. I've got a lot of things to learn, don't I? Can confirm they are all great braai foods. I actually have a cousin who runs a South Africa shop in New Zealand. Sure you can get anything or everything you need at a place like that, says Jason. Whereabouts is he located, Jason? Out of curiosity, is he South Island or is he in the North Island? Now, nice flat ball, huge hit coming in on the captain, Balasetha, who's driven backwards. And Basil, that sounds very appetising. And I think if Pollard misses in Tonga, the country South Africa will understand, then show empathy towards Mani as well, says Sino. So in a way, that is the better scenario, isn't it? The fact that, like, as a South African unit, they won't want Mani Libok to be receiving as much stick as he currently is, because they'll know that for them to have a good chance in this World Cup, they need Mani Libok to be playing with confidence But every time he goes out on the field, the South African public turn against him, unfortunately. I think the one thing will be at least 3 types of meat, says Gareth. And also Italy and New Zealand. Will be a good match, I'm afraid, if New Zealand win because Italy can beat France, says Jody. Now kicked him behind by Uruguay. It's going to go into touch though. And now Namibia have got themselves a line out from about 20 metres out from their own try line around Hamilton, I think. But can find out for you, says Jason. Okay, so I'm in the South Island. I wonder if they do deliveries to different places. That's all, I think. It's going to be Univi in trouble here for a high shot. They are going to be checking. Mpola, better goal kicker than Lebok, says Sergio. Although just coming back from injury as well, we've got to remember. You could perhaps do some sort of sponsorship thing. You may be onto something here, says Jason. And I think Lebok at 12, Pollard at 12. Or sorry, Lebok at 10, Pollard at 12. Is the Ireland-Scotland game next weekend on Saturday or Sunday, says Pedrick. So it is, I know it is next week. I think it's the Monday that game takes place for us. So I think it's Sunday for you guys. But I could be wrong. I'll invite Jason Momoa around for a braai. Says Roof, I think there's going to be a little bit of trouble here for one of the South African players. I believe he's going to get himself a yellow card. Which would be a big shame. In fact, it could even be red. Cheese and tomato sandwiches in the braai to start. Says Gareth, although you guys have been talking about, it's like garlic cheese bread things. Or like a garlic cheese bread roll thing. Does anyone know what I'm talking about there? I heard someone say about it that they were having it with the braai, and it sounded very, very good. Hamburger patties are a no-no for a braai, says Hillary. A gas and a barbie, but a genuine braai is fire and coals. When you drink a couple of brews or a spot or two, enjoy with friends for several hours, says Charles. So it will be a yellow card for the captain, Nevi. I think the Box will beat Tonga up for 50 to 60 minutes, then take Easthuizen off, move Polly to 12, get money on at 10, says Dylan Simpson. Hamish, if you ever visit, call me. I'll make you some Karoo lamb ribs. And Namibia, not South Africa, says Gus there. And so my problem with South Africa is the kicking as well. It's having 7 forwards to rotate. I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. Now, Uruguay kicking this one into touch. They have got yet again another opportunity. And this discipline from Namibia has been what has thrown this game, unfortunately, away for them. If Uruguay score now, I would say that they will be walking away with a victory. Don't call Namibian South African. I can call them Afrikaans, though, as they are from the continent of Africa, says Dai. And they're now nicely slapped back, stolen by Namibia. Van der Vesterhuizen coming off the bench. Now Damian Stevens goes back to Swanepoel. Bit of pressure being put on to him by 2 Namibian players. His foot, I think, was almost on the line for Bautista Bassot. Oh, that's too high, mates. Duck your hips. Get down. The big man, Seti. He didn't do the hip flexion, and he just ran straight into his head. After being angry with the referee, you can have the yellow card, says Jody. Right, time off. They're going to go upstairs. I love this all-round commentary, says Diesel. Why did Sethi charge at the bloke and not duck at all? I think he's going to end up with a yellow card here too. If he's not careful. I want Namibia to win so bad they deserve it, says Sino. Although, if this is the 3rd yellow card, you'd have to argue that that's too high. Get down, big man. Head on here, or at least relatively high around the neck region. This is going to be at least a penalty. Brodier is the one. Is that those garlic thingies, the garlic and cheese thingies, or is that something different? Contact to the head, says Matthew Reynell. And South Africa, remember Southwest Africa, later renamed Namibia. They are full of our blood Afrikaans, or Africans, says Desmond. And I'm on the north shore of Auckland, and outnumbered by South African, says Sai. Right, Sethi on report, yellow card. He is now off the field as well. Is this a food channel or a rugby channel? Says Serena. Well, it's going to be both after the World Cup because we're going to be having a braai. Although I guess that would only make sense if South Africa win the Rugby World Cup, won't it? Oh no, we'll just do it anyway. Now 15 metres out from the line. And 2 men sitting in the bin. Univi off. Also now Seti also off the field. Uruguay are their own worst enemy, Namibia, their own worst enemy throughout this second half, already receiving 3 yellow cards. The rolling ball of Uruguay has been dragged down. The ball is still in there. They do have to use it. 22 metres out from the line. And told here the comeback says, Thiago, how long have you been living in New Zealand? I have been in New Zealand my whole life, ever since I was born. Another garlic bread. There's a French loaf with a garlic cheese, Melrose and parsley, says Andre. Now looking to go back into the pocket there for a second. It did seem like for Uruguay. And it's going to be a knock-on from the Namibians. How do you remember, says VDK? I certainly do. Been popping in, or in and out, on the Rugby World Cup. Bry Boudier is onion and tomato slices or cut into slices or rings, salt and pepper with cheese. Side 2 buttered slices of bread, then grill on an open fire. So you're an All Black, says Serena. I am not, no. I'm impartial on these live streams. People do like to put that association of me being an All Black supporter because I'm from New Zealand, but no. On all these live streams that we do it straight down the middle so that both sides are able to enjoy. I'm glad Kutsia never took the box to a World Cup, says Dylan Simpson. In the basic rule of rugby, no high tackles, and best to stop a player is to tackle them by their legs. Player can still run if he is tackled higher than his legs, and awesome, says Serena. And there as well. Okay, Unevi's yellow card will remain a yellow card. They are yet to know in terms of that next yellow card received from Seti. And the braai we just had was steak, mutton, bottlers, beef ribs, plus the green stuff like salads, says Charles. I feel like I'm going to put on like 5 kgs if I have a braai by the sounds of it. And to be fair, by then, I probably will need to put on 5 kgs or so. It's a triple channel, rugby food and booze. I love the Cape wine, by the way, brandy from Stellenbosch. Won best brandy twice this year. Awesome, and don't put Lebok under pressure because of Pollard, says Friendly. I agree. I feel like you got to keep Marnie Lebok's confidence there, because if Pollard does pull up lame after returning from his injury, like, that is something that Springbok supporters and the Springbok side have to think about. Only 23 with 3 yellow cards, although they have got themselves another penalty here. They'll be smart to go for the corner, but I believe they may consider going for the 3 points instead now. Yep. I think they will go for the 3. Oh, they want the scrum. The accent has gone some South African. Or has got some South African, says Toby. It does not. No, not at all. Which I think some people are surprised by. It's just I've spent a lot of time commentating South African games, so I've gotten used to, I guess, pronouncing those names the way that is relatively close. And yellow cards are going to be crucial. Says AJ, yes, they certainly are. And Namibian would make a big fire, not a gas braai, says Hillary. And I still remember me, beer and a braai and a sly is a thing us South Africans love the most, says VDK. But now scrum feed, head injury assessment, Sanglineti, be making his way off the field. Let's be honest, the braai is great, irrespective of what is on the grill, because you have a good time with your friends, says Gary. Yeah, that's the thing. I have to invite some people around, won't I? Because if I just have a braai by myself at 6 a.m. in the morning, I feel like it will feel a bit weird. But then saying that, I'll still have you guys there as well in the chat. South African players, says Thabo. And also, if the Bok wins the World Cup, then the whole South Africa will be drunk, or too drunk to braai. They'll burn everything, says Stull. And remember me, please, says VDK. I did say that I did remember you. Now, scrum feed. Advantage now in favour of the Uruguayans. Nice flat pass off. Almost going through was Felipe Perez. Now Adzao going short side. Velaceta, the captain of Uruguay. He'll be impressed with his half, or with this half in the game, which has taken a little bit longer than the first half did, of course. And hello, says Roloff, welcome in. And also, we have got there Marnie Lebok can handle pressure. He cannot keep a good man down. That's a cross kick from Uruguay and scored out wide. Batista Basso. That might just about seal it for Uruguay here. Our pronunciation is what it's all about, but not impossible for a Kiwi, says Charles. We have got there good ball distribution. It's far better than Andre Pollard. For money, says Desmond. And how many play time left? Still about 15 minutes remaining in this contest. He'll learn, says Sino. And okay, thanks to Lovey commentating. Says VDK there. And also we have got there the Pollard and Money situation has unnecessary pressure on both men. Pollard is fresh off an injury. Hasn't played at this level in a while. Money's only 26. Has at least 2 more World Cups in him, says Sino. And it was always going to be a risk bringing Pollard back so close to the Rugby World Cup playoff games. Because if he is well, or if he does well in this game up against the Tongans, then you're in that scenario of they'll expect him to play a bit longer in the quarters. Wugo Panthers, says Kira as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. We have got the super sticker from Stan as well. Thank you very much, mate. One moment, we will go like this and like that so that we can see exactly what super sticker it is. And it is the bonus point try for the Uruguayans. And the kick is over as well. Now 10 points difference between these two sides. It is the Hippo doing is he stretching for a skydive? Is that what he's doing? I've never seen that one before that I know. I feel like even Kerr, our Hippo extraordinaire, may not have seen that one either. Hamish, OMG, did you see that? Says Gareth, was it the Hippo doing the stretches? Hang on, what's going on here? Okay, second yellow card is upgraded to red. There is no mitigation. So it's a red card for Seti, and he will be off the field for the rest of the game. Stan coming in strong with the Hippo. Says Kerr there. And hopes Namibia in a spot of bother, says Gert. Yeah, it's just a dumb challenge, unfortunately. I've used that one before, but very rarely, says Kerr. And Pollard is a World Cup and British and Irish Lions winner. We have no problem handling the pressure seriously, a no-brainer, says Albert. Yeah, it's just more whether or not his body will handle it. We've got to remember he's only played 30 minutes of rugby in the past about 9 months or so. And now getting thrown back into the deep end, expected to compete up against a Tongan side, which will target him. So hopefully he gets out of this game injury-free for the Springboks. Another penalty going the way of Namibia there. Seti, you can see the tears. Well, you can't because he's got his head in his shirt. But the 3 yellow cards, the 2 yellows and the 1 red now, it's been what has certainly been costing Namibia. They're going to be trying to line up this kick for 3, though, with Tian Swanepoel, so that would put them down by only the 3 points, or sorry, the 7 points. Yep, Hamish, you are the number 10 fly. 1 and 2, Namibia need to capitalise, says Mark. And Kerr, I feel like a Hippo, stopped smoking and now picked up 10, 183 centimetres, 90 kgs now, a bit heavy, says Stan. Do you braai often, Stan? This is a good question. But yeah, braai sounds really good. I am looking forward to it. We have got the £4 super sticker from Kerr. We will have a quick look. Which one has Kerr dropped us with the Hippo? I know it will be a Hippo. It's a... I shouldn't have made that face, should I? But yeah, thank you very much, Kerr. Hugely appreciate it. For your Hippo, we started a Hippo train. That would be a very heavy train, wouldn't it, when you think about it? How many Hippos normally are in a horde? And is it called a horde when the Hippos are about? So there's Mrs. Bull's chutney, says Ruth. And also they reckon should go for 7 kickers though, and 1 forward. Says it was there from Blues Nate. Now Damien Stevens to roll this ball back out to the right-hand side. And also the Namibian guys are at least at the cool camp at the Lake of Geneva. Says Gert, and what's going on, Captain Kerr? I hope you're well, lads, says Blues Nate. And Namibia's flight home is already booked. Sorry, boys, says Sal. I'm sure it was probably booked a lot earlier than this game as well. They picked Pollard at 10. Marty Lebok on the bench. Team just announced his Mono the Grange. It certainly is. We will be doing the video straight after this one has finished. This live stream, that is. But, yeah, they did announce it during this game. And I feel like ever since the Springbok side was announced, Namibia have played a lot worse. Fun fact. I don't think there's any sort of correlation between the two. Hello, Kerr, says Roof. I'm sure Kerr will be very happy to see you there, Roof. I'm doing good, buddy, now in Japan. How are you getting on, winning? Says Kerr. And it was a good game, says Hadrian. The kick, I should mention, did go over. It's called a bloat of hippos. There you go. You learn something new every day. and twice on Sundays. But it's not Sunday. And my darling, how are you, says Kerr? And for Namibia to win, they have to play against Vanuatu, ranking 108th. I feel like they've had some big wins over sides up a bit further. They beat Chile, who are only ranked about 20-something. And why is everyone talking so much about food on this live? What is happening? I think it's because it's just after tea time in South Africa. And yeah, I think a lot of people are getting peckish. I, for one, am a little bit hungry. It's almost breakfast time here in New Zealand. But still, Namibia have 13 men on the field. How do you think we breed our forwards? Or, breed our forwards, mate, Bry, says Thabo. And food comes up more than rugby here, says Gareth. It does sometimes, doesn't it? Now Finta Festerhazen to throw the ball in. 10 minutes remaining, should say, in this contest. Nicely taken. Now to the left-hand side, slinging pass here for the Namibians. If they can score and convert here, Damian Stevens kicked the ball away. I'm holding up for you, Ruth, says Kerr, and that is going to be the mark taken inside of the 22. Just after tea time, 7:25. Well, it depends what time people have their teas, of course. I'm normally, well, to be fair, I have my tea at like 3 a.m. because I'm weird with my sleep schedule at the moment. Nicely taken by Stevens once more. Now Tian Swanepoel puts the kick up and under. Looks like Stevens will be the lone man chasing it. Now Uruguay going for the cross kick of their own, running onto this one nicely as the Namibian winger. In fact, it's going to be their fullback here. They're still not out of this game. Okay, always good or very bad. When I listen to Kiwi's commentary, I ate too much chili biltong. Now my lips don't need Botox. Says it was there from Ruth. And thank you for your sacrifice, commentator. The early hours of the New Zealand morning. Says Serena, no worries at all. And we are going to be covering every game of this Rugby World Cup on the channel. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've been sleeping in 2-hour increments throughout the day. Playing the ball on the ground. Namibia have now given away the advantage. Uruguay move up to the 22. Okay, it was knocked on. They are going to have the blue scrum. The advantage was over. And it'll go there. There you go, Uruguay, says Ruth. And don't make me imagine tease, says Kerr. And how about just open your mouth as wide as you can, then burp your immediate, or you imitate them perfectly, says Stahl. They've also got a super sticker from Nate as well. You guys are on a roll. And the chat is usually appreciated. Nate has also got the GG of a hippo slapping his... What do hippos have? Their feet? Is that his feet that he's slapping together, or his hands? Hippos surely don't have hands. What are their stumps called? Because it's not hooves, is it? Gazelles to get a converted try in the last minute to draw, says Kerr. Could be an option. And also, Hamish decided to join you for the end of the game. I miss our chats, mate, says Joss, and it is great to have you once again back on the channel. Joss, I did see your comment on, I think it was one of the videos earlier on, saying that you were watching the games, which is awesome to hear that you are able to watch them. Yeah, it is great to have you here once again. What are super stickers? They are the weird hippo things, this one. That you can see down there as well. They are pretty much what those are. Things getting expensive in New Zealand. It's like $50 for a watermelon, but that is one of the more expensive things about, I would say. And the Kiwi lads with the Hamish emojis from Ruth in there as well. Other riffing standards are very low. Says Democracy. Hamish, I'm busy brying, says Stan. And also, what's your closest part or port, says Kerr. And that's going to be another penalty now, leaving their feet there for the Namibians, sealing off. And I from France says, Johan, welcome in. I'm predicting New Zealand versus South Africa final, says Mark Wainwright in the chat as well. That'll be disappointing for the Namibians, because once again, that is another chance that has dwindled. Optimus Hippo as the top dollar, says Kerr. A moment. I actually have the option of super stickering myself, so I can see the hippos that they have got. Where's Optimus? Where the bloke at? He is, isn't he? The chair transferring. There's also a chest one with a hippo that comes out and punches the air. I wonder if they've added any new hippo ones since the last time we went through our stint. I think most of those ones are familiar. And now lining up this kick for Uruguay. This will give them a 10-point lead once more. I said on many occasions the refereeing makes or break the game, and that kick has gone straight over from Uruguay. It seems all these cards against Namibia just proves my point, says Charles, although two of those cards were for tackling high, unfortunately, which you just cannot afford to do in this day and age because of how strict some of the referees can be. And I think the World Cup will go to the Northern Hemisphere. Says Jacques there. $50 for a watermelon. Well, my ammo is worth more, says Gert. And Amish the hippo is the most dangerous animal on the continent, says Dan. They are definitely dangerous. I need to find a ship going to South Africa for Ruth, says Kerr. Now it's going to be Teron out onto the field for Damian Stevens. And Namibia go, please, says Artie. So, yeah, they've got 6 minutes to get themselves a 10-point little stage. Feb is Kiwi, Kerr / Kiwi Lads catch-up. Says Kurt certainly is. And to try and find my way towards a cruise ship bay somewhere. Other side of the breakdown once more. What date was it in February, Kerr, again? Was it right near the start of Super Rugby, or was it a little bit after the start? And Cape Town, please take your waves back. We don't want them, says Gareth. And discipline, says Mark. And 36 points to 26, says Martin Pera in there as well. It's going to be kicked high. Now nicely taken for Uruguay once more. Perez. It's the 38 metres out from the Namibian line. Uruguay already have got themselves the bonus points start of Feb. That'll be better than the later stages, because I learned I've also got a wedding to go to around the start of Super Rugby, which is going to be a tricky one to manage. Everything has made it, says Charles, but yeah, start of Feb definitely doable for the catch-up. And I was like, damn, I wake up too late, says Dark Scar Flame. And also we have got there, it's finally raining here, and Joburg, much needed. Says the chicken Fuff not playing, says Albert, yeah, he's been left out completely of the side, instead going with the option of Jaden Hendrickson and then also Kobus Reinach in the starting side. But our video will be out at around maybe 7:15 South African time by the time this live stream is finished, and the time we record that next video, yeah, will be a little while. That's going to be Uruguay with the penalty now. It looks like there's some anger. February 2nd, round New Zealand cruise starts, says Kerr. And sorry, reffing has made it virtually impossible for Namibia to win, says Charles. Although, like I said, getting 2 yellow cards for high shots was definitely not what they needed in this case. Looks like they are going to be going upstairs to check and stand not so far away. We are neighbours. Is there a game tomorrow? There is. It is going to be Japan versus Samoa as the upcoming game. They are just checking some head-on-head contact against an Uruguayan player. Yep, that is high, so that will probably be a yellow card. As well, 28 euros for a watermelon. Really? It is, yeah. And it's a big shame because I quite enjoy a watermelon. It's just no one wants to pay like $50 to be able to get one. Even for like a little slice is like $8 to $15. And Desmond Fuff needs to have a conditioning treatment sitting on the benches here. Is gorgeous, says Ruth. And what are the odds at the moment? Namibia, they are sitting as, one moment, they are $41 underdogs in this match to go on and get themselves the victory. For a draw to happen is $81. But that is because Namibia need, of course, 2 sets of points and one place to come. A close to hippos in South Africa safely is St. Lucia. They roam around town. And Nice mostly says that Jeka, and February 6th is Dunedin and 7th is Christchurch, says Kerr. You got any spare seats on the cruise ship, Kerr, that I could, like, you know, just pop on and sneak from south to north? Are they imported then? The hippos or I assume the watermelons? I think so. I wish I had grown them in my garden, though, because I was thinking about it a couple of years ago, and then I was like, no, I won't do it. I'd rather buy them, and then they went up in price. Now 4 minutes remaining. Now for the Vesterhazen again. Another line-out chance. Hey, I can get you on, says Kerr. I wish I fill up my tank with $50, says Stan. Watermelons are just flavoured water you need to chew, says Gareth. To be fair as well, the seeds in a watermelon are quite annoying, aren't they? So where do you go from Christchurch, Kerr? Out of curiosity. You're probably up to the North Island, are you? That's a knock-on there from your Nivy. How was the weather for the game? It was 25 degrees Celsius, so actually a very nice evening for a game of rugby. And Namibia, very bad second half. Yeah, unfortunately, the flying momentum has just not been there for the Namibians throughout this match. And yeah, I'm sure they would have liked a lot more success throughout that second 40 minutes. And Hippos have some strong mouths. They can crush them watermelon, says Dark Scar Flames. I got the braai on the go. I believe once you made the comment, Namibia are being pushed in the dick. It was all over classics, says Jan. It was, I just heard Namibia is going home by boat. So they will be normal. So they will be normal when they get home. Wellington, Napier, and then Tauranga. Fall back to Sydney. Then it's round Oz Cruise, says Kerr. Ooh, I see. I'm just thinking about where else the ports are up north, you see, just depending on, how much time I can holiday for. The Springboks has a squad of great players, so they will all get game time, which is good. Villy LaRue at fullback, but this time no bomb squad. It looks like 5-3 split, which is good for the game, says Desmond. And France should play Niger at rugby, says Peter Wild. And who is the tastiest bowlers, Namibia or South Africa? Namibia, their beef is free range, baby, says Ruth. Once had Hippo built on, and it was nice, says Albert. I imagine hippo meat being very tough, though. Just because, I don't know, they just seem like they'll be tough things, New Zealand versus Italy on Friday at 7 GMT. Now scrum feed for Uruguay just outside of their 22. Thank you, Hamish. From Auckland, New Zealand, says Mark. Too much leaning, says Matthew Reynal there. They are over the mark, says Van der Westhuizen. And 5-3 split. Matt Williams will be sitting in the corner whacking himself off. And thank you for the stream. Enjoy watching, says Sergio. And we have got plenty more coming up in the near future, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There you have 6. And poor Namibia still not improving, says John. I mean, I've seen improvements throughout this game, though. And it's just been the discipline that let them down. I think if they didn't get those 3 yellow cards, they would have been well and truly in this contest. And it's a big scrum from the Namibians, almost managing to get that ball back now. Working Uruguay towards that touched line. Close to winning that turnover. Just not quite. Nice one, Uruguay, says Penny. I know that someone said that they had Uruguay to win by 14 earlier on, which they won't be a mile off in terms of that prediction. What are the chances of Italy pulling off an upset up against New Zealand on Friday? I respect the All Blacks, but I wish for an Italy upset. I mean, the All Blacks definitely cannot underestimate the Italians. That is for sure. Now ball thrown back infield. Uruguay take it back. Berger unable to keep his feet. There you have it. No team has ever won against the ref, says Charles. Yeah, but you can't go around clotheslining players. That's the difference at the moment in this game. The fact that Namibia have had 3 yellow cards, 2 of which for high shots. Congrats to Uruguay and their fans. Alistair Kutsi out. And also how either of these teams won a match, or have either of these teams won a match in a Rugby World Cup game. They have. Uruguay beat Fiji in the last Rugby World Cup, which actually stopped the Fijians from making their way into the next stage of the competition. And then also in 2003 and 1999, I believe, the other times we have seen the Uruguayans win games, whereas Namibia, they have had 25 attempts and 25 times they have not managed to get themselves that victory. The goal of the first kind of losing against Italy, it feels predetermined, says Gareth. If anyone was going to have it happen while under their tutelage, it would be Sam Cane, I would say. Did Namibia at least win the fight? Says, oh, I mean, they've had more head knocks to the opposition than themselves, so I guess that's a bonus, right? If you're looking at the boxing side of things. And now Tian Swanepoel will be kicking this one into touch now. Keeping the momentum flowing. All these messages have got me nervous about the All Blacks versus Italy. ABs all the way. We have got there a question, is it a man's game or a game for pansies, says Charles. Well, the thing is, they try to limit the amount of lawsuits that World Rugby have to deal with for players who have been in the game of rugby receiving head knocks, and then they don't want to have to pay them out. So you want to make sure you're trying to say you're being safe as possible in this case. New Zealand has beaten Italy in every game they have played by average of 50 points, says Mark Wainwright, although I think the closest margin, or one of the closest margins, would have actually been the last time that those two sides did go head-to-head. A nice run from Tian Swanepoel. Namibia looking for one last try in this game. It won't get them the bonus point, but it will help them get that little bit closer. In fact, they would receive a point. They will go back for the original penalty to the Namibians. And AB's vs Ireland quarterfinal, says John, and no chance for Italy against the All Blacks. It's actually a penalty to Uruguay, my apologies, rather than the penalty. Oh, it was Yanivi once again, the captain. The cheap shot to the spine. And Uruguay will tap the ball, kick it into touch. And that is the end of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Uruguay get themselves their first win of 2023's Rugby World Cup. They have still got a game next week up against the All Blacks. But for Namibia, they are sitting 0 from 4 for their Rugby World Cup campaign. But with the way that they seem to be able to qualify, I believe we will see them at the next World Cup as well. Well done, Uruguay and Namibia. Thanks for the exciting game. Namibia, poor discipline, cost you 3 yellow cards. It's a poor show. And thanks yet again, Hamish. See you next time. Says Peter Wild. And also we have got there, well done, Uruguay. Unlucky says it was there from Blues. No, nice work, Hamish. Thank you. No worries at all. So the next thing that will be coming up on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, will be our Springboks lineup announcement. They did announce it around 55 minutes ago, so we are a little bit later than, of course, we would have liked to be, but we will be having that video up hopefully within the next around 45 minutes, mainly because to export it takes around 25 or somewhere around there. But thank you all very much for tuning in. It has been greatly appreciated. You all being here for this stream. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for, or have you learned how to say? Says Kerr, what am I learning how to say? Now I'm nervous. We have to see what this is. Pick my most beautiful side in Afrikaans yet. I have not, no. No. That would be quite a tricky saying. I can say jou lekker ding. It's like a decent start and buy a donkey, but that's about all I've got for me Afrikaans at this stage. And see you tomorrow for Japan versus Samoa. That is something else I should mention. That game tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. It's when that one is going to be taking place. So be sure to keep an eye out for that as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will see you all for the next one.